The All-Star voting returns, they came out just earlier today. And if we want to look at it, Tatum is second in the Eastern Conference front court voting. He's got over 1.3 million votes. Jaylen Brown is fifth with only 433,000 votes.
Can I say something just between the three of us? Nobody else will hear this. I think Jaylen Brown is better than Tatum. Don't tell anybody I said that. That's just my opinion. So,
bad. The thing is, I mean, I've definitely gone back and forth on that. I've gone back and forth on, is Tatum actually the better player of the two? Which I'm not.
You're just being told that.
Exactly. I feel like we're being told by the machine that Jason Tatum is the guy, and it's like, is he really the guy? I mean, Jaylen Brown got the Eastern Conference Finals MVP and the NBA Finals MVP last year. So, Jason Tatum had just as good of a chance as Brown to get it, and Brown got them both. Right? So, if I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm feeling disrespected.
That's a travesty.
Right?
That's a travesty.
I'm feeling disrespected. What? If I'm Jaylen Brown, what do I have to do? Right? Winning these MVPs is not enough for y'all? What do I got to do? Just because I'm playing next to Tatum, that's it? He's automatically going to always be better than me? But, okay, so these returns are interesting because for the first time we're seeing LeBron James is in third place in the Western Conference in the front court. So front court vote getter in the West is Jokic, 1.4 million votes. So you got KD, 1.2 million, and then LeBron, 1.1. If you want to get the top five, it's AD after that, and then Wemby, number 5. For guards in the West, we got Shea, who's the only guard in the West with over 1 million votes. He's actually the only guard, period, at this point with over 1 million votes, which is impressive. Then you got Luka, you got Steph at third, Kyrie, and then you got Anthony Edwards, fourth. And then in the East, front court, you got Giannis, number 1. He's the leading vote getter, 1.7 million votes. And then Tatum, Towns, Paolo Banchero, and then Jaylen Brown. If you're Jaylen Brown, you can't get more votes than Paolo?
Paolo's been playing.
He's been out for a month. He plays in Orlando. You're playing for the Celtics, and you can't get more votes than Paolo? What's going on there? And then for the guards, you got LaMelo Ball, number 1, which is shocking to me because he's also missed a lot of time, and Charlotte is terrible. You got Donovan Mitchell, number 2, Dame Lillard, Jalen Brunson, and then Trae Young, number 5. Thoughts on these votes?
LaMelo, I want to say he's a bit of a surprise, but if you really think about it, if you're looking at excitement and what you want an all-star game to be, I rather see a LaMelo play than a Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion. He's exciting, he's flashy, he gets the job done. And we all know when it comes to all-star games, especially when it comes to, fan voting, it's not so much about, your availability. It's your name. That's really what it's about. Steph, to be honest, I think Steph is more based on his name because Steph is definitely declining as a player. So I think that he has that kind of legacy kind of award from the fans. I honestly wouldn't have him that high up. Eventually the torch has to get handed over. So I do want to see the Anthony Edwards out there, to be honest. I do want to see the Wembys out there. I do want to see this. And I think the NBA needs it too because ratings have been down. They need to have those younger guys as the face of the league, right? They need to start showcasing them a bit more so fans can get more familiar with them. And hopefully, the coaches' votes, they'll get some of the younger guys in there. And I hope the younger guys actually get some more playing time. Typically in the All-Star game, they go with the older guys. They just let them play the majority of the minutes, and the young guys sort of get shafted when it comes to the minutes. And, for where the NBA wants to go, they got to change that. It's time to give these young guys some minutes. It's time to let the world see them so that, the league can sort of change the face moving on from LeBron and the Currys and the KDs because, they're all getting up there in age.
It should be interesting this year. I was looking at the top vote getters and thinking, okay, in the West, we basically be looking at a team of Jokic, KD, LeBron, Shea, and Luka. But actually, they switched it up yet again for the All-Star format. So now we're looking at there's going to be 4 groups of 8 teams, right? 3 out of those 4 teams are going to be the NBA are going to be the 24 NBA All-Stars, and then the remaining fourth team is going to be the rising stars, basically. So like players in their first 2 years of their career. So what are we thinking about the league now trying to switch up the All-Star format yet again to bring up that interest? Like Justin, you mentioned, okay, you'd rather see LaMelo Ball over Donovan Mitchell. And now I'm like, a couple years in years past, I would have agreed. But now I'm wondering, like, since the All-Star game has become such a show, and not a good way, where these guys are not taking it seriously, they're jacking up all these shots from anywhere and nobody's playing any defense. Maybe we do want players like Donovan Mitchell over players like LaMelo Ball. Maybe we do want players who will just come in and play the game rather than not taking it seriously and like Anthony Edwards last year was making a joke out of it, basically, right?
Yeah,
he was. Go ahead.
I think what the NBA is doing is twofold. I think part of it is sort of what I was saying in terms of trying to develop the young stars. By having a rising stars team in there, which is going to be comprised of first and second year players as well as G League players, you are trying to put a face to the younger guys in the league. And as you were saying, also the All-Star game has over the years hasn't been competitive in a very long time. So the NBA is just trying to find some way to draw up some interest, to let guys compete. And it's honestly pathetic. Like, I mean, what more do you need than to play an all-star game in front of millions of people across the world, in front of thousands and thousands of fans? Like, what more motivation do you need? Like, I'm tired of the NBA trying to add, trophies or trying to add money or always trying to add something to get people to compete. So far, it's proven it hasn't worked. I mean, I'm hoping this new format does something, but I don't have high hopes, because if the guys have the same mentality, then what's going to be the difference? They're not going to care if it's a tournament format. They're already making their money. They don't care. They don't want to get hurt. I guess I'm looking forward to the young guys, because I think the young guys may have something to prove. They never really got that sort of ability to showcase themselves that the veterans have. So maybe they will actually put effort into it. But I'll give it a watch just because it's different. But I can't tell you I'm not too excited.
Just a quick comment on the Ant thing going into the game last year, shooting left hand. I remember watching at that time, and I'm like, something's wrong with this guy. You know what I mean? Something's like, to go into your first All-Star game and treat it like a joke, not as a statement, I'm going to prove that I'm the best player in this game, like, said something to me about him. And when everybody was calling him the next Jordan, I'm like, Jordan would have never done that. So don't be telling me he's the next Jordan, right? And as you can see, he's kind of regressed a little bit this year, coming in, shooting all these threes, and it's just like, I think he just got too full of himself and didn't feel like he felt like he had arrived, and I think that's why he was doing stuff like that. But I like the change. I don't know if it's going to be a good or whatever. I like the fact that they're trying something different, because the All-Star game is unwatchable now. Last year was the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. It was so bad to watch. So I like the fact that the NBA is always trying to come up with a different idea. And this may work because you have, whenever you divide people, as we just saw in the recent election, you get results. So the NBA is dividing the rookies and the sophomores. Like, so when you put them together against the old heads, I think that should create at least competition from them, right? To want to at least compete and win for their group against the old heads. And if you're older, established veteran all-star, you don't want to lose to the young guys. You don't want to lose to the rookies off. Or maybe if it's your peer, you're throwing the ball off the backboard, always having a good time, throwing the ball behind your head, all that stupid stuff that they were doing. But now you don't want to lose if you're LeBron. I don't know who's the first and second year guys, like Cade. Is it Cade? No, he's been in the league longer than that now. I guess it'd be Wemby, but he's in the big game. I don't even know who the guys are, right? But right. I know this year's rookie class is not great. And last year was Wemby, Chet Holmgren, and I don't know who else. But you don't want to lose to those guys if you're Steph or KD and Jokic, whatever. So I would think you're going to try. So I think that's a way that's going to get them to try. Also, there's less players per team. right? I think it works out to like 8 players per team or something like that, right there. So now you're on the court longer, right? You're playing more. Now I'm going to play a few minutes, go sit down, relax, talk to the cameras. You're going to play more. So I think that too may motivate you to play more. Also, what I would have changed is, what's the winnings? I don't know if you have that there. There's a total that the winners get, and then there's a number that I think the second place gets. I'm not sure if there's a third place. What they should have done is they should have just taken the total winnings, forget second and third, and say whoever wins, you get the whole thing. Now you got millionaires who are going to be, I'm going to go play and get nothing. It's all or nothing. I think you'll get more of a competitive fight. I actually heard Gilbert Arenas say this, so I got to credit him for that because he actually put that out. He goes, the way guys think, NBA guys, these guys got money, but they're competitors at the end of the day. So I don't know what the number is. Let's say the total pot was $1 million, and you're splitting, winners get 500 or winners get 750, and screws at 250. Then screw the 250. Give all the winners $1 million. That last game is either you get $1 million or you get nothing. They're going to compete. They're going to play. And I think the NBA needs to maybe, I know you don't want to like come up with all these things to force these guys to play, and I get it, and I agree. Like, it's ridiculous that you even have to have that to do that. But we're from a different generation, right? Like, LeBron's been in this game long enough, and we've seen LeBron go in games and ball out and play hard against Kobe with the D-Wade, and back in those days, the McGrady's and Marbury's. We've seen LeBron's gone through the whole thing. Like, Steph, same thing, but this is a new generation of guys. Look at the crap Ant-Man did last year. Like, this is a new generation of guys that they've been entitled, right? The AAU generation, the internet generation, the ones where you're a star from age 14, 15 years old and everybody knows you. So I just feel like you have to do something for the fans. The All-Star games for the fans. So if the league is looking at it like, what can we do? We're not going to scrap the game altogether. So what can we do to get the best product for our fans? And if it means tinkering with the game here and there, that's what they got to do. They just got to get that sweet spot and find exactly what the right thing to do. Maybe this will work. Maybe we'll see it once. It won't. Is it the Elon Mending still, that thing where you have to play to a certain score? I think they're still doing that.
So the good thing is that every game's going to be played to a target score of 40.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't heard anything about Elon Mending, and it won't be Elon Mending if it's only to 40 anyways, right? But the good thing is they're playing to 40, so that should give it more of a high level pickup vibe, as opposed to playing a full game where guys could fool around and not take it seriously. That alone could make players take it more seriously, playing to a lower target score. So, that might work.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm willing to see what it does. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but they're trying something. Let's see. I want to see them get like a one-on-one competition in All-Star Weekend, like things like that. I want to see them do. Get really creative with it.
So I like the fact that the NBA is at least. So it shows that the NBA is paying attention, and they recognize that the product hasn't been good, right? Like, if they're making these changes, because last episode, we talked about the NBA Cup. So you got the NBA Cup. A couple seasons before that, they instituted the play-in, where now you could be a 10th seed and potentially still make it into the playoffs if things, go right for you, basically, if you win those play-in games. And then now tinkering with the All-Star. This is now, the second time that they've tinkered with the All-Star, or the third time, because it was players. You had Team LeBron versus Team Steph, and then you're drafting your players, right? Or drafting your teammates and stuff like that. And now they're doing this. So I give the NBA credit for recognizing that, okay, the fans aren't really feeling this. The product hasn't been the way we want it to be. Let's make some changes. So I respect them for that. The issue I'm having, though, is now that they've clearly opened this door to say, okay, we're going to tinker and we're going to change things. Now you can't stop it now, right? Like, now the whole Team LeBron versus Team Giannis, or Team LeBron versus Team Steph thing, that lasted how many years? 3 years? 4 years? 5 years? And now they've scrapped it already, right? So, and now you're ushering in this 4-team kind of tournament thing how many seasons before the players stop caring about this, right? Like at this point, the players are making so much money that it's like I don't know how much money doesn't seem to be an incentive for these guys because their contracts are guaranteed and they're already making hundreds of $1,000,000. OG, not to hate on the Knicks, OG Anunoby, just as an example, is making $200 million. OG Anunoby will never be an All-Star, right? He's making $200 million. So now factor in what the All-Stars are making. How much money, All-Star game money, winning money is going to be an incentive for these guys? They have all the money that they could ever want already, right? So these guys, they don't care about the money. Whatever money they're gonna get, like for them, it's gotta be pride. So I think what Emmanuel, you're talking to, like established vets like Giannis and Jokic not wanting to lose to young guys like Grady Dick. Okay, I get it. You know, it's got to be something like that. It's got to be, you got to hit them in their pride because I don't think the pocketbook is going to matter, right? These guys already have all this money and the money is guaranteed. It's not the NFL where something happens and you're losing your money. No, you could be like Kawhi and never play and never lose a cent, right? So it's like at this point, if you're the NBA, it's like, okay, cool. You're going to institute this now. I'm interested to watch and see how it goes. But, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, are they now going to have to be like, okay, what's next now for these guys? Because these guys don't care again about this. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a slippery slope now that we're in, but I don't know what the solution is. Because it's not like we could just scrap the All-Star game altogether and just be like, okay, we're going to break for 2 weeks and then we'll resume the season. Like you need something, right? But I don't know what the solution is because these guys don't seem to care. If you're Anthony Edwards and people are calling you the next Jordan and you're going in your first year and you don't care enough to the point where you're just going to shoot left-handed and brick everything and make a mockery of it, then what does that say, right?
There has to be a pride there and a competitiveness that as a top athlete they all have. And like going back to what I mentioned before, like arenas, these guys, they gamble on the plane and all that stuff for money. Like it's the competition of it. So it does matter. Like money does matter. Not everything, just because you're making $20 million a year doesn't mean you don't want an extra 200 grand. Doesn't mean you don't want an extra 150 grand. They absolutely do, especially if it's getting it through a competition setting. Like you're winning it. That's why these guys gamble and do all this kind of stuff. So I'm looking it up and it's that each player gets 100 grand. I'm pretty sure this is updated. I could be wrong, but each player gets 100 grand. And at least that was last year. And the losing team, each player gets like 25 grand. That was 25 grand. So basically what they're saying is, I don't know how many players are at the 25 grand out. Let's say equals a total pot of 350 grand. Give the winners all 350 grand instead of 100 grand. And losers get nothing. Now in that final game, they're going to compete for that game according to an NBA player, right? Because he's like 300 grand to somebody making millions. That's still a heck of a lot of money because in his words, that's 300 grand that you didn't account for. Like, like you're getting paid, it's going to your baby mamas, it's going to your bills, it's going to your mansions, it's going to like you have things. And then to get an extra 300 grand that you weren't really counting on, boom, because a lot of guys take it. They got family members who are like, yo, mom, take this, or dad, take this, or it's the person who cleans your yard, take this money that you weren't accounting for. They will take it and they will compete. So I think they are all millionaires. And to your point, Justin, make it all or nothing. Why are we giving you more? Like, if you want the money, go win the game. And if you lose, you get nothing, right? Like, you're going to be an all-star anyways. You're not going to say, I'm not going to show up. So you're in the game. You might as well play to win the money. If not, you get nothing. You're a millionaire. You'll be okay if you get nothing. I think that may drive up some of the competition juices. But other than that, I don't really know. But I think there has to be a cash incentive, and there has to be an incentive that I'm getting that cash by getting one over you, right? Something like that, right? Like 25 grand to come in second place. Like, you might as well give them nothing, right? Give them nothing and give it all to the winners.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you said there, that is the problem. It's like, okay, if you need this money to compete, where does it end? When it comes to the regular season now, then you know what? Maybe I'm not making enough money. I need extra incentive to play during the regular season. Like it's a slippery slope. And I'm not going to take Gil's word as law. Someone wants to shoot people in the locker room. I don't care. Like, I mean, what more incentive do you need? Just play. I like what Barkley said. He says he has the best job in the world. He gets millions to play basketball. That Barkley has always said that throughout his playing career, and even when he retired. I'm just like, what happened to the pride? Because with money, the love of money is something that is the downfall of man. So at what point is it that you're going to? It's going to transfer over. It's going to transfer to regular season games. Guys are going to be sitting. There's no incentive for them to play. All of a sudden, the league's like, okay, well, you know what? If you play a game, we'll give you an extra $50K for games that you play. Like, at what point does this end? I mean, I would love to think that this is going to resolve everything in the league, giving guys some extra money, but I don't think so. As Emmanuel said, baby mamas, Emmanuel, they get extra money. You know what that also means? They get another baby mama. When you get another baby mama, what's going to happen? They're going to need more money again, right? All of a sudden, that pot that you got, it isn't enough for you. So where does this end? Like,
it's not going to end. It's going to get worse because of NIL, right? The number one guy, AJ Baissa, going to Brigham Young.
Yeah.
$7 million.
Yeah.
$7 million.
Exactly.
Like, if you're not a top pick, you're taking a pay cut to come into the NBA. Right? Well, even if you are a top pick, because remember, that $7 million is a 1-year deal. 1 year, $7 million. It's not 3 years, whatever. And this is 2025. NIL just started. What's it going to look like in 2027, 2028? Are we going to get to the point where guys are getting 10, 12, 13, $14 million in college? And what's that going to do to the NBA game and the impact? And when they finally get, they'll be like, no, I'm good. I'm not going to the league. I'm good. I mean, I'll stay here. That's another topic for another day. But
it ended up like the women, right? The women are taking pay cuts now.
Yeah.
To go to the WNBA, right?
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark is making all her millions from endorsements.
Yeah.
And she's making like 70 grand from the Indiana Fever. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So now it'll be like that, but on a much bigger scale. If AJ is getting $7 million 1 year at BYU, he's not even going to Duke or North Carolina. He's going to BYU and he's getting $7 million. So now this guy gets drafted to, let's say, I don't know, the Washington Wizards when he comes out. And his let's say he goes number one. Now he's making what, $4 million a year?
Yeah.
So he's making less now
to
play with the pros, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Penny Hardaway made a statement about this, saying that now you can't coach these guys now because he's like, that not everybody's going to league. Like, everybody thinks everybody's going to league. No, you get guys that come on your team. You have a roster of 12, 15 players. Maybe you have 1 or 2 NBA guys. The rest of them may go to Europe, may do whatever, who knows. But you're not going to have a whole team of NBA guys. Not every team is going to be Duke or those type of schools, right? So, but these guys who are there are still good enough to get NIL deals. That's how you get them. Everybody's getting NIL now. So you got a guy coming in that you're giving $1 million or you're giving them $750,000, whatever you're giving him, right? And every single year, and he's not going to the league. He's like, I'm good. You can't rush those guys. You can't get nothing to those guys because they're getting a check, right? You sign a contract, you're going to give them $1 million. They know they're not going to the league. They're going to go as hard as they want to go in practice, right? And do whatever they want to do, collect their money. And if they don't want to play no more, they're good, right? You really have to now want to get to the league because it isn't this struggle of I'm fighting to get there because I'm trying to feed my family, right? You're fighting to, like, you're good already in college. Like, you're having a lavish lifestyle. Like somebody said, one of the major disappointments or the major changes in the league now is when we grew up watching ball, the guys we were watching were coming from, like, not all the time, a lot of impoverished backgrounds or situations where they were trying to leave and get and better and bring the people with them. So they were hungry. Right. And we saw that with the players. Now the players in the league are all kids of former NBA. You know what I mean? Like, they're getting 24/7 training, grew up in mansions. So, like, the hunger has to come from like Bronny James. Like you have to really want to be a basketball player. You don't need to be a basketball player. You have to really want to be a basketball player to put up with some of this stuff. Like you have to. So that hunger has to be there with these guys, right? So just the money alone won't do it, right? Won't do it like we were saying.
Yeah, the money alone, exactly. And now it's going to be, if you're a young player, now your goal, I assume, has shifted to now I just want to get that NIL money, right? I want to get that. I want to become a top recruit so I can get that NIL money. And now I'm good. Now my family's good. My mom's good, right? Yep. And then the NBA can come later, and it's like there's no rush to get to the league, like you said, because it's like if I can get my money sooner than that, then what do I care, right? Mm-hmm. The money is the money, right? And then the one last point on the money is that I read there was a study done that was just talking about regular people and their salaries. And once you hit a certain point, I think it was like $75,000, $80,000, $85,000 a year. Once you hit that point, the more money that you make doesn't increase your level of happiness, right? Your level of satisfaction. When you're below that and you feel like you're struggling, yes, you want to get that. You want to get to that point where you're making that extra money. But once you hit that amount, they realize that if you go up to 90, 95, 100 plus, your level of happiness doesn't really shift that much the more money you're making. Because at the end of the day, your needs and stuff are covered, right? Yeah. So the only reason why I say that is the NBA now has gotten to the point with these contracts where the players are making so much that these extra incentives of we'll give you this money here, we'll give you an extra $100,000 here, whatever. It's not going to do anything for these guys. Like, okay, I get it what Gilbert Arenas is talking about in terms of gambling and having some extra money that you weren't accounting for. But at the end of the day, if you're Jason Tatum and you're making you have a $4 million deal. Like if these guys and these contracts are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So 5 years from now, we're going to be looking at guys making $700 million deals, like what we're already seeing in baseball. Like it's. The numbers are getting the numbers are getting so high and so astronomical that it's going to get to the point where, okay, I have enough money. You can't entice me with the money. And like Penny Hardaway's saying, you can't coach these guys because it's like, yeah, if the kid knows he's making millions and you want to, like, can you imagine Bobby Knight coaching in today's era? Impossible.
Impossible because they're making way too much money.
Exactly.
They'd be like, you're just letting me. I'm gonna go over there. They're gonna pay me over there. Like I'm out.
Exactly. You better coach me right.
Coach me right.
It reminds me of Sprewell coaching, choking PJ Carlesimo, right? Like Carlesimo, college coach at Seton Hall, comes into the league, talks left of Charles Sprewell, and he chokes him out. Right. So now. Imagine now when everybody's making the type of money that they're making, and now college kids are making the money that they're making. How do you coach these guys? How do you talk to them? You got to be their buddy.
What that Sprewell thing is, a lot of people criticize. Obviously, he shouldn't have done that, and said he should have done that, and he was wrong. But Carlesimo never talked to anybody ever like that again, right? So once he got choked out, he realized that maybe he needed to do some soul searching too, and maybe it changed his approach.
But he deserves to
don't want to get choked. Don't say certain things to people like that. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
If you don't want to get choked out, watch how you talk to people.
Why do you talk to people? Treat them with respect. In today's game, that's like you said, they don't have a choice. You have to talk to people. So like those coaches, the Bobby Knight style coaches and the Carlesimo old school style coaches, those type of guys, those days are gone. Yeah. Right? Like the players have too much power, too much money, and now it's shifting into college. Like it wasn't the NBA. Now it's shifting into college, which we've complained about for years. Give the players more power. Now I'm like, wow. Like,
yeah. Not like this. I don't think anybody envisioned that it was going to blow up like this, like giving guys $7 million to go to school, possibly play 1 year. Like that's crazy. We were just saying, like before they weren't even allowed to get a job, right? So now we've shifted from one extreme to now the total opposite extreme. Now you're giving multiple millions to someone who has not even proven themselves yet. But anyway, that's a topic for another show.
All
right. So this was a good one. Thanks for tuning in once again to this. And like you guys did after the last episode, leave us your comments. We'll read every single one of them, whether you agree with us or not. We enjoy the engagement. We enjoy the comments. So keep those comments coming. Subscribe to the Boom Shakalaka podcast on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter /X we're on there. So for Justin, for Emmanuel, I'm Vincent. We'll catch you on the next one.
Chakalaka.